Now, it comes as a surprise to no one, but last year wasn't great for video games. But that's all changing with 2025. Some of the best games ever created are getting sequels, along with some new games which look incredible. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my personal favourites for this year, starting with Split Fiction. Now, if you're a fan of co-op games, you've probably heard of It Takes Two. This game could basically make or break a relationship. Whether you're playing with a partner or that one friend who you swear you're not gay with, It Takes Two is an extremely fun game. Except when that same friend stabs you in the back. Which is why I'm looking forward to Split Fiction. Essentially, it'll follow the story of these two characters, Mio and Zoe, who have been trapped in a simulation after some not so lovely bloke tries to steal their ideas. The issue with this game is that it switches between fantasy and sci-fi, meaning that 1 minute you could be flying a dragon and then the next you're hunted down by RoboCop. The problem is, putting these two genres together has potential to make this game just a chaotic mess. I mean, I don't see a game with gas-propelled pigs and exosuits working together. Overall though, I'm really looking forward to it. I just hope there's a little less couples therapy needed this time. Moving on, we now have Death Stranding 2, another highly anticipated game, and if the first one didn't make you question your sanity, this one will. I'll try and avoid spoilers for those who haven't played the first game, but all you need to know is that there's a lot of walking. This has split the community into two groups, one who called Death Stranding a modern masterpiece, and the other calling it Postman Pat Simulator. Personally, I couldn't understand any of it. I mean, you need a fucking PhD to understand anything that's going on. You got void outs, weird jar babies, and whatever the hell this grim exchange is. Honestly, if the first game didn't make you believe that Hideo Kojima is just high on fent, this one will. Because now we're getting talking puppets and action scenes featuring a robot samurai fighting Ace Frehley. In all seriousness though, Death Stranding 2 does look fun, and it seems like there's going to be a lot more action this time, including more environmental hazards such as flash floods, and also tougher enemies to fight. Hopefully this will make the non-stop walking a little less tedious. Avowed is next up, and I know fans of Skyrim are gonna love this one. Made by Obsidian Entertainment, Avowed takes place in the same world as the Pillars of Eternity series. It's essentially going to be your classic RPG game with spells, swords and guns. So if your dream of becoming Harry Potter fails, you can always become Rambo instead. Avowed is going to be playable in both first person and third person, as you the player is tasked by the Idea Empire to investigate a plague called the Dream Scourge. It looks pretty fun. The combat seems a little slow for my liking, but I'm sure RPG fans will love this one. Speaking more about action, we have Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game which I know lots of fans have been asking for a while. Set in feudal Japan, AC Shadows follows the story of two protagonists this time, Yasuke and Naoe. The thing I like about this game is that you can choose how you play, Naoe being stealthy and Yasuke being, well, not much is known about the plot, but I imagine it's the usual fashion of see bad guy, shank bad guy. I will say though, this game faces two massive problems. The first being the controversies. I'm sure most of you are aware by now, but a lot of people aren't a fan of the whole idea of the main character in a game set in feudal Japan being a 6-foot black man. It's also worth noting that Ubisoft have waited too long for this release, because now they have to compete with the most anticipated game of this niche, that being Ghost of Yotei. For some reason, both of these games can't seem to avoid controversy. The voice actress behind Ghost of Yotei's main character, Atsu, isn't very liked. Personally, I don't think it's that deep. I just hope Sucker Punch can replicate Tsushima's action, or at least make it better. And from the look of the trailer, it looks like they will. For starters, it seems like we'll be getting a two-sword stance, which looks absolutely incredible. There is also a Kusarigama, and if you get bored of that, a gun. Once again, we don't know much about the plot other than it's being described as an underdog vengeance story, but so far everything seems incredible, and personally, this is the game I'm most looking forward to. Moving away from feudal Japan, we now have Mafia: The Old Country, a prequel to the first game and basically the origin story. And for those who don't know, the Mafia series is just GTA with pizza. If you like your crime simulator games like GTA or Red Dead, you'll definitely love Mafia: Old Country, as it follows the story of Enzo Favara and his joining into the Teresi family. Now, a big problem with this game is that it's releasing quite close to GTA 6, meaning that not only will they have massive competition. But there's also a chance they will try to rush things in order to get it out first. Hopefully they don't, but if they do, let's just hope that we don't get another Red Dead 2 scenario. Speaking of sharpshooting, Killing Floor 3 is next, and for those who don't know, number 1 and number 2 were round-based zombies similar to Call of Duty. Except instead of getting teammates with a gambling problem, you instead get teammates with a melee problem. Now number 3 is going to have special abilities. You've got grapple hooks, Yondu's arrow, and like a true survivor, drugs. It seems like number 3 will be similar to number 2, but from what I've been told, there's going to be more story this time around, which is very cool. Now if the chaos in Killing Floor 3 isn't your style, the chaos in Doom the Dark Ages will be. For those who don't know, the Doom series is just how many demons can you kill before you question your sanity. And for returning Doom fans, you'll be glad to know that the chainsaw is coming back, this time in Shield version. I do wonder how developers come up with this stuff, because now you can live that lifelong dream of yours of becoming Captain America meets Mad Max. Similar to Mafia Old Country, Doom Dark Ages is going to be another origin story, following the Doom Slayer in a techno-medieval setting. Truly can't think of a better combo. Another good combo is Portal and Halo. Splitgate 2 is next up, and I know the first game didn't do amazing, but the sequel has real potential. Out of all the games on this list, this game by far is the biggest hit or miss. On one side, the concept is one of the best I've ever seen, but on the other side, there's about as much hype for this game as there is for another KSI song. Now, as we all know, the thing that set Splitgate apart was the portals, which are insanely fun until you come across a G-Fuel snorting tryhard who, put nicely, absolutely bodies you. The skill gap for Splitgate is insanely high, which is great for competitive players, but not so great for the middle-aged man who just finished a 15-hour shift, and it doesn't seem like the gap is getting any shorter. Instead, Splitgate 2 is becoming more of a hero shooter by adding different classes into the game. One for speed, one for support, and one for defense/offense. It's pretty generic, but I guess only time will tell how it plays out. Personally, I'm really rooting for them. We already have an Overwatch killer, now all we need is a COD killer. Before we move on to the last game, I want to talk about one of my other personal favorites, Elden Ring Night Rain. I feel so bad for game developers this year because they have to compete with Elden Ring again. The DLC and main game did so well, but what a lot of people don't know is that this game isn't going to be a DLC. Instead, it's going to be a standalone game featuring content nothing like the original. For starters, it's going to be seamless co-op. You know that friend who still can't kill the first boss? Well, now he's going to be on your team. And you, plus one other person, will have to survive 3 nights while the map slowly shrinks. And at the end of it, you will fight one of 8 bosses. One of which being the nameless king from Dark Souls. Don't ask me how we got there, just accept it. Players will also be given 8 classes to choose from. We got the Wilder, Duchess, Guardian, Recluse, Sniper, Unga Bunga Heavy Weapon Main, a Duelist, and Healers. Some of these aren't official as we still don't know much about the game. This is just what people over on Reddit are saying. The thing which makes this game so unique is that scenarios are randomly generated, meaning that your playthroughs will be different each time. Meaning, if you get battered by the 3-headed dog, you can always get shit on by Fantasy Frozone in the next run. Now I have to admit, even though this game is hype, it is nothing compared to what's next. Set to release in autumn, GTA 6 is easily the most anticipated game ever. I mean, it's so hyped up, there's even memes about it. Despite that, I do still think it'll come with its problems. For starters, 90% of current GTA fans play the online, and we still don't know if GTA 6 will even have an online. The problem is if it does have an online, it'll need a decent amount of content to make people switch. I know I'm tired of the lobotomites known as KD grinders, but if GTA 6 ends up with nothing to do, then I'm not gonna bother. On top of that, GTA 6 is so much hype that if it doesn't meet expectations, then that is going to lead to the biggest letdown since the Megamind sequel. But with the budget being between 1 to 2 billion, I don't think that there's much to worry about there. Now, other than the trailer, we don't know much. You'll be playing as 2 characters, Jason and Lucia, doing your usual GTA activities, and honestly, no matter how good or bad it is, it can't be worse than the trilogy. There's something for everyone this year, from much wanted sequels to amazing standalones. 2025 has to be the best year for gaming. There are a couple other games that I know a lot of people are really looking forward to, but in my opinion, these are just some of the best ones. If you've enjoyed this brief video, please leave some feedback. Being a small channel means any support you can give will go a long way. Thanks for watching, and bye bye!